Hello. We're looking at lesson 1-6 on solving proportional relationships. Hi. Okay. This is something that can be kind of confusing because we have that form of a fraction again. But I need you to bear with me, okay? Because we're going to take things out of that fraction form really, really quickly. All right? So we know that a proportion are two fractions that are equal to each other. So when we have a fraction that we need to simplify, or when we have to find a common denominator, what we start with and the value that we have a common denominator with, those are proportions. Okay? All right. Here we have a proportion, and it's in all variables. So we have A over B equals C over D. And what we do, we cross multiply. Now this shows that it's true, but I need you to just know this part, okay? I'm not going to ask you to justify it or explain how we know that it works. Okay? But we take 8 times 3 and 6 times 4. Those things are equal to each other. Those are cross products. So if those are supposed to be equal, then we can solve for missing parts of our proportion, as is shown here in example 1. It says, after 2 hours, the air temperature had risen 7 degrees. Write and solve a proportion to find the amount of time it will take at this rate for the temperature to rise an additional 13 degrees. Okay, so we have temperature over time. What I want you to do, see this part over here where we start by writing out our units? You need to write out your units when you're setting up proportions. So we had 7 degrees in 2 hours. We want to know how long it will take to rise 13 degrees. And we have a variable t. Remember what I said about variables. If you don't know how to write a cursive letter t as a variable, choose a different variable. But your variables have to be lowercase and cursive. Find a variable that you can write and work on the others. And then to solve, we're just going to cross multiply. So we're going to multiply the 7 times the t, 2 times 13. 7 times t becomes 7t. 2 times 13 is 26. Then we need to get t by itself. We call this a one-step equation. And we get t by itself by dividing both sides by 7. And we have t being approximately 3.7. Okay? That squiggly equal sign means approximately. That means that they rounded when it didn't say to round. Okay? T is approximately 3.7, and then we include our hours at the end. If you need more practice with this, there are these down here at the bottom. If you need practice with this, do these at home. Okay, so do the problems that I assign first, but then work on this at home if you need extra practice. You'll have all weekend to do it if you need. Okay. All right. The other thing that I want you guys to look at is example 2. The ratio of type O to non-type O donors at a blood drive was 37 to 43. So we had 37 type O donors, 43 that were not. How many total donors would be type O out of 300? So here, what it's saying is that we have to find the total number of donors, of the total number of people that gave their blood, which is going to be the 37 that are type O plus the 43 that were not, to get our total number of donors at this point. 37 out of 80 equals t over 300. They use the variable t again. Again, you can use whatever variable that you want. We're going to cross multiply. 37 times 300 80 times t. 80 times t becomes 80t. 37 times 300 is 11,100. We divide both sides by 80, and 137.75 equals t. So that means there would be about 139 type O donors. We cannot have a decimal value of a person. Okay, we can't have it. We only have whole people. So when we're looking at this, you're going to have to round. Anything 0.5 or higher, you round up to the next number. If it's 0.4 or below, you keep it the same. Okay? Alright, here it says to use the unit rate and multiply like this. I don't like using this method when we're learning how to solve proportions. Okay? So I want you to dot an X through that. We're going to come back to it, but I don't want you guys, we're not going to use that method yet. Okay? Alright. You guys have some practice problems. Please don't be afraid of word problems. Have a fantastic weekend. Next week is my last week out on maternity leave. So that would be the next week where you are learning through videos. Hang with me through next week, and then I will be back. Have a fantastic weekend.